Hello, hello. Welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML. And you know what YOML is? It's a year of magical learning. This is where we go on to Zoom. We talk about the book that Chris is read and the lessons he learned from it. And we talk about, the lessons learned, discussion, the pros and cons and whatnot. So all yours, Chris.
Yeah. We need to I feel like we need to go do a retroactive Your Magical Learning introduction that we can just, point people to or something like that in the future to kind of talk about how this whole thing came about anyway and why we're doing what we're doing, just to give a little background on it. So I think let's put that on the agenda for some point in time in the future here to kick this whole journey off for people. So
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to get our executive producers to put it on the schedule, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But no, excited for another fun episode here. Today we're going to be talking about book 68, which is hard to believe. But it's a book called Cork, Dork. It's a book about a wine-fueled adventure among the obsessive sommeliers, big bottle hunters, and rogue scientists who taught me to live for taste, by this author named Bianca Bosker. So it's a fun book. I mean, like I'll get into it in a second here, but she's Bianca is a professional journalist and as the title says, an amateur drinker. And she didn't know much about wine. She kind of stumbled upon this like alternate universe of like the world of sommeliers and you know what a sommelier is, right? Like the wine experts. Like if you go to a nice dinner and like somebody comes over and they're telling you about wines or whatever, like that's a sommelier. They're supposed to be supposed to be like a wine expert and somebody that
it's
can
foreign to
understand.
me.
Right. So somebody that can understand your palate, understand the origins of the wine,
right.
taste, how to pair it with meals, yada yada yada. So these are supposed to be like wine experts and also like not just the wine making process and the wine tasting process,
Anything
but like
about wine.
the wine experience process, right? Because wine at the end of the day is an experience. So Bianca is a journalist, and she I don't know, got a little fascinated by this, decided to take a couple years off of her job, very similar to that the Biggest Bluff book, with
So when are we going to hear about the what was it, the not racquetball, what was it?
Pickleball. Oh yeah,
pickleball
yeah,
pickleball book.
so yes. I just so everybody knows, I want to do this similar thing that Maria Konnikova did for the Biggest Bluff, and that Bianca did for Cork, Dork, and that Ed Harahan Finn did for the Rise of the Ultra Runners, where I go infiltrate the world of pickleball and journal my experience. And
I'm still waiting for that book.
I mean, I need to go get a sponsor, and I need to go get a book deal to work toward. But yeah, I mean, I'm in. I would love to do that. That'd be awesome to quit my job and go try to do that for a couple of years. But anyway, so it's a really fun book. This is one that my wife Felicia, and I did together as well, and yeah, we really enjoyed it. I mean, wine's I'll just get to the reflection because I talk a lot about this stuff in there. But so the reflection title is if you want something to be memorable, make sure it comes with a great story. And here's what I mean by that. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So first off, I was mentioning, this is at the time that I finished this book and wrote this reflection, this was the fifth book that my wife and I had finished together as an audiobook, and and we had done it over like 6 months period of time, which I was pretty impressed with, to be honest with you. I think we're on like book 12 now in the present day.
Oh, nice.
And it's been pretty cool. Like it's been unique. It's talk about the compound effect, right, of this whole journey. So we found a way for to find books that both of us are going to enjoy. My wife and I both love wine, and we'll talk about that in the reflection, but and just that experience together. But we've combined that with our Amelia walks and listening to an audiobook, and as we walk around the park, and kind of living your values, right, and all the compound effect that goes together with all that. And then we can talk about these books and experience them together, and it's fun. It's a shared common language, and things to discuss, and new things to try in your marriage. So yeah, I mean, never really thought that would be my life, but here we are, right? But in particular, why we chose this book, my wife and I, we've always loved wine in general. Like it's big, I don't want to say like it's a huge part of our relationship, but it's always been an important part of how we connect together. In particular, we don't have a ton of things in common in terms of like hobbies and activities that we like to do. But traveling and wine in particular has always been something that we've always both mutually really loved. So a lot of our trips, have been, like to like Paris, or I mean to France or Italy, and wine tasting, and Spain and wine tasting, and Napa Valley, and Niagara Falls region, which actually has like an awesome wine tasting region. And I mean, like a lot of our fun trips that we've taken over the years, have all I don't want to say revolved around wine, but wine was always a part of it. We loved experiencing wineries and tours, and understanding this stuff, and just having a good time, and enjoying the food and wine experience together. So this book got me really thinking about the wine experience in general. And the author Bianca, she was explaining what it's like to be a sommelier and their job as she started to infiltrate this world and started to do it, and started to understand how to express it to customers, and how to get into their mind and sell them that this is the right wine for their experience they're hoping to have. She made a great connection in the book about when you go to a vineyard, you have an experience at a vineyard, it's and you buy and you love it, right? You just feel that there's so many other things that are going on that go into that experience than just tasting that wine. You end up buying a case of wine or something like that from it, you bring it back home, and all of a sudden when you open it up like a year later and you have the first glass of wine, you're like, this doesn't taste near as good as it tasted when I was trying it out. And there's a reason for that. It's because the wine experience is an experience. Like I can't replicate to somebody what it's like to go into Bonn, France, and we walked into the little town square, and there's like this amazing farmers market going on. There's dudes with accordions playing, and there's a Michelin star restaurant in every single corner. And then you go have like a glass of Burgundy wine, that's like this amazing, world class Pinot Noir or something like that. And you're in a little wine cave eating cheese or whatever, or you're, going hopping from vineyard to vineyard in Canada, tasting ice wine slushies and different ice wines and things like that. And it's really hot out in the middle of the summer, and you're hearing about how they make this stuff, and or you're out in Sonoma County, and you're experiencing like just the beautiful scenery and settings and tastes, and like you just can't combine all that into describing that to a customer, like a table that's in a Manhattan steakhouse. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to take what's the mental images that are in my head and the experiences that my wife and I've had together that I hold dear, that makes these experiences special, but then to try to translate that to somebody else. And that's the job of the sommelier, right? And that's what she talked about. It's like it's their job to unlock that experience for you, to get you to go from a New York steakhouse to being in Tuscany and Italy, and experiencing all that, and how this is all connecting together, right? And it was just a really good lesson for me, and a reminder for me that if you want something to be memorable, make sure it always comes with a story, right? Like that's our job. We have to paint the picture for others to understand, because they're not going to understand just by saying, hey, yeah, here's the wine, here's where it came from, here's why this is quote unquote special, here's it's about the experience. It's about like when we're doing this journey together, it's about how you feel afterwards. It's about how, like the conversation we had yesterday about Big Sur, and I don't know about you, but like I felt like that I will remember that conversation because I remember the experience that we all had together. And did we talk about anything groundbreaking and earth shattering? No, but like it's about transporting you to another time and place in your mind, and having a great conversation. And otherwise it's just wine. It's just wine, right? It's just grape juice, having it at home on a Friday night, like, and that's not special. Like there's no story there. So anyway, that was my reflection for this book. Love to get your thoughts, either on the question of what's some of the favorite stories to share about experiences in your life, how you connect, like all the different other things that go on, or just in general about like what makes a story memorable to you.
So for me, I mean, I think it's unfortunate for me, I can't drink any alcohol.
Why is that? I don't actually. You've never told me that actually. Is there a reason, or is it
So
just?
I can't take alcohol. My body doesn't process alcohol at all.
I didn't know that. I learned something new.
So if I drink just a little bit of alcohol, my whole body turns red, like as if I'm really drunk, because it doesn't process it.
Interesting.
My body doesn't process it at all, and I probably get drunk pretty quick. Because it doesn't matter how much, it's just a little, and it's like a reactions.
Right.
So I can't do it. So I mean, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, not really.
Because I hear you telling stories, and it sounds fascinating. You go to Napa Valley, visit a vineyard, because when I hear these kind of stories you tell, I have this imagery of nice sunset, looking beyond some kind of a
Rolling
hill or
hill.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes me really say, that's nice. That's a
Yeah.
really nice place to be. And imagine, and I imagine drinking the wine. I mean, I guess the wine, it kind of adds to that experience, to the
Yeah.
story. And so for me, even though I don't drink it, it's still every single time that I see somebody drinking or see somebody holding a bottle, I would imagine somewhere in France you have this beautiful, Tuscany house with the all the rows and rows of whatever the however they grew the I guess the vegetations, I would see rows of either flowers or grapes or whatever else that they grow in those places. And to me, it's very peaceful, very nice. And that's what I imagine. I think I'm kind of like wish I could uh experience that myself. But in any of the thing, like you say, if you want to make it memorable, it has to come with some sort of an image. An image only be accentuated by story. It has this, it has that. These are characters. These are backdrop. And so, similar to a writer, you're gonna have to paint the picture and show the sunset. Shows. I mean, it's not like, okay, you go there and it's stormy and it's foggy and all that. You don't imagine those kind of scenery. You only imagine the sunset. You're not even imagining like the high noon sun either. You just imagine the 4 o'clock afternoon sunset with a beautiful hue that kind of shines through, and you have people that are like next to you that are like enjoying it, and you're enjoying it. There's no, it's a beautiful moment. I mean, that's why I felt like that's what people are having that I don't have.
Well, I'm sure there's other areas of your like this is applicable to a million other different things. The fundamental principle behind it is like experiences are better when there's a story attached to it, right? Like if you have a nice steak dinner or something like that somewhere, like if you cook it at your home and you just eat it by yourself, like it doesn't matter. Like the steak is gonna always taste better when you spend, for whatever reason, $200 and you're out with a group of friends, and it might be the exact same cut of meat, they cook the exact same way, but it's just not the same experience.
No, it's more of the other senses that kind of combine to create that unique experience. I mean, we only remember the experiences, right? We don't remember the daily task, whatever. I mean, the thing we do, it's like noise, right? Signal to noise ratio. You have something that is above the signal, above the noise becomes the signal, and those are what you remember. You only remember the peaks and the valleys, right?
Yep.
Not the averages, not the middle.
And the ends, the beginning and the end,
beginning, ends, and then the peaks and the valleys in the middle. So for me, that's how I kind of see how a lot of these story becomes ingrained in our memories, just because we only collect a summary of the highs and the lows in our life, and only can you make the I guess the moment like stands out from everything else is you have to combine it with the story. And the way we we remember is based on stories that we can tell others. And it's
Yep.
also, I mean, similar to what we're doing today in doing the discussion about stories we learn and whatnot. The telling a story essentially is gonna kind of like re-etch into our memories and make that. Because a lot of times, we can read a book, but and like you talked about yesterday, the book about Bosker, right? It's not those big books that you remember, but you remember because of the discussion we had yesterday,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
ingrains into our life as we were three guys talking about the atomic bomb that we have and the quest that we're going on to, and that's the
Right.
story of ourselves, and that's what makes it memorable, not because of the book
Right.
per se. So I think I really agree. Having a story is what makes us, I guess, human in a way. And humans, it's told one story at a time.
Yeah.
And if you can portray that experience in a memory, it's easy to recall.
100%. Like you, I think you just hit the nail on the head with the conversation about Big Sur yesterday. The book isn't a great book. Like, I mean, it was, as a matter of fact, like I don't even know that I would even venture to say that I even enjoyed it. Like, it was, but I enjoyed the conversation about it with you. I
Yes.
remember that way more because like that was an experience that
Mhm.
that we all had together, not just reading a book and moving on. That's why this journey has been so important, for me, for you, for other people that have been taking a part of this, and anybody else that will take part of it. It's
Mhm.
not, this isn't just about reading books and talking about it, write a review about it or something like that. This is each one of these conversations that we have, each one of these reflections that I write. This is about sharing stories of your life and how these things all connect together. And for me, like it reminds me of, we'll get to this reflection here in the not too near future, but about the book called Moonwalking with Einstein, which is about like the memory champs in the world. And like it was a similar story to this, where this guy decided he wanted to go try to become a memory athlete, and compete in these kind of things. And what I learned in that is, the most powerful and successful memory athletes out there in the world are the most creative and imaginative ones, because that's how we learn. We learn from rote memory. We don't learn from, this is a bottle of wine, this is where it came from, this is the taste you're going to taste. It's all subjective. Like, I mean, there's no, like, the whole job of the sommelier is almost like a joke. I mean, because who the hell knows if there's some scientific methodology as to what you smell and what you taste and what you don't, and where the terroir and the sun hit it on a certain hill. Like, I mean, it's all just like, speculation at the end of the day. But what isn't speculation is how somebody feels when they consume that wine. They will remember. I will always remember Linmar Estates in Sonoma, and the Russian River Valley in Sonoma County, and the experience that my friends and my wife and I had while we were out there. I will always remember, Bonn, France, and going to this wine cave, and I will always remember there's certain things that I can't get out of my memory because it's etched into the visuals, it's just there. So if you can help other people to experience that, or you can help yourself to experience it, you'll remember a lot more and you'll experience a lot more, because that's how we think.
More,
And
enjoy
you'll
more as
more,
well.
right?
Because the thing is, it doesn't matter what you put in your mouth. I mean, if you say if this glass of wine is really good, but I drink it in a very rainy, midnight, cold place, right? You're not tasting anything, right? Your mind is somewhere else. And but
Exactly.
if you're on a nice vineyard with the beautiful weather and the nice sky and the ambient temperature, you're gonna say, well, this wine tastes
Tastes better.
it tastes sweet, it has a little aftertaste, blah blah blah.
Right.
So you don't remember anything in the harsh winter cold in Alaska when
Right.
you're drinking the wine.
No.
But the thing is, that's not what you remember. So it doesn't matter how good something is, right? It's all the other combinations of the other senses that comes to play to say, well, I enjoy it. Or, right, you say have really expensive wine, whatever wine you want to pick, you take it and you're in a frozen place where you don't want to be, whether, I mean, to some people, they like the cold, some people they don't. But if you go into the elements of places that you don't like, and some people no, don't like the cold, so you take them into Alaska, or you take them to a rainy place where it's foggy all the time and it's gloomy all the time, and whatever, and that is not going to give them any joy when they drink the expensive bottle of wine that would have
Right.
joy at another setting.
Yep. 100%. Like that's why she said, like, and she's so right. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we always, whenever we go on these travels, like we always buy, like a decent amount of wine or something like that to bring back and put in our little wine cabinet.
Right.
And,
So to me, I think the lessons is, enjoy the experience. Don't buy the wine and bring it home.
Well, but actually, I will challenge that, because I don't drink the wine that we bring home because it reminds me of the memory when I look at it. Right, like it's like a trigger of a memory.
Right, it's a trigger. Right.
But when you actually decide to open that up and consume it, you're always like,
so bring it home to display, but not to drink. Okay.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm always torn on this one too, because like it's also wine. You should drink
because
it.
The thing is, the thing, and you know how that reminds me of, like, let's say you're Michael Jordan, right? And you are the top of your game of your NBA and you won a championship. You retire at the most ripe time of all time, right?
Yep.
And then you say, well, I'm gonna go back and unretire, and then you suck.
Right.
Right. It just kind of like diminishes the ripe experience you had before.
You're right. Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about in terms of, yes, I'm drinking this, but I'm not really in the setting that would make this wine the best tasting wine it could be. And my I guess my expectation of it just gets, kind of shrink down to a lower level.
Agreed. But that's when you should unlock your imagination and remember, visualize yourself back on that, amazing, vineyard in Sonoma County and the
but that's the thing
hills
is, I don't know if I can do that because I physically I can't, right?
Yeah.
And what if you couldn't do it? Like let's pretend that I could drink the alcohol and I couldn't do it, and it just saddens me because this wine is not as used to be. It's like, make it right.
Well, whatever you experience, this could extrapolate to anything. Whatever you have pleasant memories of experience.
It's like, this was wine when I went to France and drank it. Now it's just a big juice that is fermented.
Pretty much, yeah. Agreed. But anyway, it was an interesting book, and I think it's a powerful lesson that was learned from it, those stories matter, right? And the stories we tell ourselves matter.
I think the highlight of this is, it's the story. It's what get I guess passed from one person to the next person, because I mean, I imagine I don't drink. I imagine all the stories and I imagine all the imageries, but I don't drink. But because the story allows other people to pass that image, the illusion of whatever that is to me, to kind of experience some of it. And I think
sometimes that's more powerful. Yeah. I mean, that might even be more powerful sometimes, because it's using your imagination. And that's like, I mean, you can, maybe you can't drink, but you can feel it.
It's just beyond the communications aspect of, the ideas, right? Because I can talk to you, but the way I talk to you, you can conjure up an image of what I'm trying to say to kind of get a glimpse of some of my experience. And I think that's powerful in the way we communicate with one another. But I don't know if animals can do that, but as human beings, it's really, because you think about the image that you produce, it provides you with the same tendency, the same, like, if you get my sympathy, right? I feel your pain, I feel your emotion, I feel your tendency, and then that will enable us to unite. You think about it, because we are able to feel others ideas and images and emotion, because you pass that kind of word into my head creates an image, that image creates an emotions, and I feel some of your emotions. It's allowed you and me to unite, to do acquire a common values, a common virtues, or whatever. And I think that's what makes humanity great.
Agreed.
Because our ability to unite together to do things that makes us feel pretty much the same.
Agreed. I mean, it's that is unique to humanity, I feel like, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. Remember the four agreements, right? Always be impeccable with your word, right? That's why it matters, because if you can be impeccable with your word and paint that picture for somebody else, you can connect, and it makes everybody I don't know, feel a little bit better, so good conversation for the day. Love it. The question we can leave for everybody is, what's your favorite stories to share, and about experiences in your life? How did you feel how did it connect with you? So yeah, I'd love to hear your comments, and thanks for joining.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.